Well, that's a wrap, right? Around the pyramid of pain and how Cisco aligns to the indicators. We talked about, every single capability that Cisco has, from both a detection and a preventative capability. And the goal ultimately is to make it very difficult for the adversary to be successful, and make sure that we have controls, from trivial, right, all the way up to tough. The challenge that we all have and we're faced with is our ability now to be able to consume that information in a meaningful manner and be able to push out these controls through some automated process, maybe even some orchestration, right? And so there's a tremendous amount of complexity there. And so what Cisco's been building over the last few years is more of a platform-based approach that not only allows or empowers the defender the ability to consume large data sets of information and take that information and be able to build in controls with the click of a button, but also has built this to ensure that you can actually extend this beyond the Cisco portfolio. So it certainly was built to, help integrate the Cisco security stack and accelerate key security operations like detection, investigation, and remediation. But it doesn't just stop with Cisco. We have the ability to add third-party modules as well, and further enrich that data. So the goal here is to aggregate threat intelligence, both Cisco Talos and threat or third party. Again, ask it the core questions that you're most interested in, right? You've got an observation and you want to understand what that means to your organization, and threat response is the tool that you can use, or the mechanism that you can use to ask it those questions. You want to make sure that you're enriching that data with a true understanding of what it means in your environment and whether or not you've got targets that exist. And if not, you want to be able to build those controls. If you do have targets, now you're going to want to pivot into those specific tool sets to understand the actual scope of the breach, right? What really took place. You want to make sure it's interactive, right? And threat response does a good job of making sure that there's a strong visualization of what's taking place. And you can see that in the image here. You want incident tracking. You want to store key investigative information to allow yourself to, document your findings and your progress. You want to be able to drill down very quickly. And again, like I mentioned, right, you see a target, you might want to know more about that specific target, or you might want to know something a little bit more around the observation that the target is communicating with. And then ultimately taking action right from the platform itself. So that's Cisco Threat Response, and Cisco's offers this with investments that you make in the Cisco security portfolio. So all the products that we've talked about in the previous videos, you make an investment there and you get this for free. The other element is around automation and orchestration. So recently Cisco also released a product called SecureX. The goal here is to empower teams to leverage the full breadth and capability of that Cisco integrated security portfolio, right? Architecture, platform, call it what you may. And the goal here is consistent, experience that unifies visibility, enables the automation, strengthens your security across network, endpoint, cloud, and applications. But again, it's not limited to the Cisco security portfolio. You can extend this to third party and help accelerate the ability to centralize or visualize the data in a centralized dashboard, but also extend that capability to do things like orchestration and automation. So again, some of the highlights here is secure your business with the broadest integrated security platform in the industry, right? So that's the Cisco security stack as an example. But again, realizing that not every single customer in the world is going to have every single component at a specific time from Cisco. And so integration with other vendors is key in helping our customers, or Cisco's customers, realize the overall value of, and minimizing the overall risk to an organization. Unify the visibility and gain actionable intelligence across your entire infrastructure. So Cisco threat response, you'll also hear terms SecureX threat response, becomes essentially a module within SecureX. So you've got all your products, right? That might be modules within Cisco threat response, and then Cisco threat response becomes integrated with the SecureX. And so from the dashboard, I can very quickly pivot into something like Cisco threat response and investigate. Maybe I have a case book that I'm looking at and I have an incident. And from there, I can pivot into Cisco threat response very quickly and seamlessly to understand what that visualization looks like of the threat, and obviously drill deeper into it as well. Automate security workflows and increase efficiency and precision. So again, as you continue to mature as an organization, we want to build out these workflows and get rid of some of the mundane stuff, right? So for example, there might be an activity around phishing, and you might want 5 or 6 steps that happens. And so that could be when you see maybe a phishing event, as an example. Maybe I want to take a forensic snapshot of the endpoint. I want to do a snapshot in Cisco threat response for investigative purposes. I also want to take maybe some observations and cross-correlate that against other intelligence sources. I want to also build a control based on those observations in certain platforms. And then I might want to open a ServiceNow ticket, as well as open a WebEx Teams room and engage the right people in that room, and so they can collaborate. So a big part of that is collaboration, right? So that's kind of like, building out that orchestration workflow, type component. But there's also value in the product from a SecOps team, obviously, but also IT ops and NetOps as well. So again, bringing all the teams together and working together, and also pulling data out that's valuable, right? You might want certain data sets or views of the data that empower different teams. And the goal here is obviously reduce complexity, maximize benefits, ultimately better integration overall. And again, this is a capability that's offered by Cisco with investments in the Cisco security stack, right, that we've talked about previously. So this is not a product we sell. It's an additional capability that you do receive when you make an investment in Cisco. So you get the Cisco threat response capability and the SecureX automation orchestration capability. There is an added capability here. You can see this activity feed here and this threat hunting incident, and that could be generated by the Cisco Talos threat hunting service, and that's an additional capability where Talos can hunt within the environment and provide you insight into what took place and maybe what needs to happen. So it's an extension of your team. And then finally, we look at the architecture, right? And I've done other videos around this. So again, just continue to remember that, Cisco's got capabilities throughout the entire architecture or platform, right? Some people want to use that term, and they're somewhat interchangeable. But you want to look at those indicators, understand the capabilities within the stack, and where you might be able to further enrich that data set, and or use the information gleaned from some of these products to insert your will around controls so the adversary cannot be successful. Yeah, so that's it. Cisco and the Pyramid of Pain.